Bill, tell me a little bit about the Lewis and Clark project. I've seen it for a couple of years now.
Well, give you a little history behind that is we was doing a market fair show out in Pennsylvania, out at Fort Frederick, Pennsylvania, and we set up Primitive out there, and we had all our wares in our Primitive lodge, and a man come through and was looking at the stuff, our Tomahawks and stuff, and he came to me and he says, I really like your work. He says, would you be interested in doing some pieces for a new museum that is opening up in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia in the spring of 2003? And I said, why, definitely.
Sure.
Very interested. So that was the start of it. So he called, he sent us some paperwork on different styles, and we conversed back and forth and came up with, in 1803, the most common pike tomahawks was an English style. And he said, well, that makes sense because in 1803, the master blacksmith at Harpers Ferry, which was the National Armory, was an Englishman. And he said, all the pieces coming out of Harpers Ferry at that period of time had a U.S. stamp on the blade or whatever they made. And he happened, he had a bullet mold that they knew was out of Harpers Ferry, made there in the armory at that time period, and the U was bigger than the S. So we reproduced as close as we could that stamp, and so the most common wood that was used in pike tomahawks was ash wood. So they commissioned us to make 6 pike tomahawks and 6 what they call scalping knives for this museum. And then Meriwether Lewis came through there in 1803 and picked up 60 pike tomahawks for the original expedition. And according to their records, 24 of those was for the Corps to carry and use themselves. 36 of them was for Indian gifts and presents. And the scalping knives, they didn't have a number on them, but we got the style of it, and there was a number of knives made which also had the U.S. stamp. So that's kind of how everything got started. So we made those 6 pieces of tomahawks and the 6 knives, and they are on display from now on, apparently, in the Meriwether Lewis Museum at Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. So since that, we've reproduced them for the collectors and reenactors to purchase. We also make a presentation grade Lewis and Clark that's fully engraved and inlaid, and it's a numbered series, but the standard issue series we didn't number because we had already started to make quite a few of them before we thought of the idea of numbering them, so they're not numbered, but so we have some Lewis and Clark pieces in the Meriwether Lewis Museum in Harpers Ferry. The History Museum in St. Louis has some pieces. There's a museum in Philadelphia. The NRA Museum in Washington has one of them. So we've got quite a few of them in different, I guess you'd say, prestigious places or whatever. So it was real neat, and we're only going to make them till the end of '06 because that will be the end of the 200th year anniversary, and that will be the end of the Lewis and Clark series as far as what we're
So that'll be, it's definitely a limited run based on that.
A limited run. As of right now, the presentation grade, which is numbered, we're up to number 26. The standard issue, which is not numbered, I would say there's probably less than 200 in existence that I made.
Sure.
And so that still is a pretty low number for
I like that
something
idea.
like that, right?
It gives a collector a chance to look at something that he
Very true. You know, down the road, 20, 30, 40 years from now, they'll probably, be very sought after. Of course, you never know how long somebody's going to live, but nothing's ever worth nothing until you're dying.
Oh, yeah.
Until you're dying.
Well, before we quit here, is there any other project that's dear to your heart or you're passionate about that we haven't talked about you'd like to mention?
Well, like you were saying, I do make some war clubs and different weaponry, I guess, that's a little bit off of the iron work part. I only do that when I get all my metal Tomahawks totally caught up. Mm-hmm. I do enjoy doing specialized work. We do some gold, silver inlay work. I do a lot of pewter work, banding, and some of the Tomahawks we put scalp locks.
Okay.
Trade beads, old
Mm-hmm.
trade beads. We only use trade beads that are very traditional, and some of them date back to even 1,000 years old.
Okay.
Like I say, I enjoy doing real fancy work, but you get so much time involved that you end up having to put such a price on it that sometimes it takes a while to sell.
Sure.
So since I make my living this way, I have to be competitive and offer a good product for a fair price. Mm-hmm. And that's where we try and stick at.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy looking at your stuff every year. There's always something a little bit different, and I like what I'm seeing. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, sir.